is Crystal Weitzel, and I'm 15 years old.
Did you practice your violin at all yesterday?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna do that today.
I have much time.
It's true. Also need to go to Twisted Scissors sometime.
Will you make me some waffles, Mom? Please. I don't want to get out.
No, you pop them in the toaster and they pop up.
I just want you. I love it when you make me food.
That's cool.
Will you make me some waffles?
No, you make your own waffles. I'm having this conversation for the third time.
I really like when you make it for me because it's more special.
You're 17 years old.
I'm only... No.
I'm 18. You can make your own waffles.
Get out.
Especially since you don't have to like mix them and bake them or anything.
There are an estimated 700,000 transgender people in the U.S. according to the Williams Institute at UCLA. There is no data to show the total number of adolescent and teens which consider themselves transgender persons. Because of the lack of data, it is important to create social awareness. This is my brother's story.
I've been part of just the school orchestra since I started playing, and that's changed with people joining and quitting throughout the years. I've also actually been part of the Keystone String Festival, which is a whole bunch of schools coming together to make one giant orchestra. And now I'm in my high school orchestra, and we do a lot of advanced stuff, but we also go back to like the middle school and help those people out.
Our final tune is going to feature our two All-State students from last year, Mr. Ryan Lidgett on violin and Mr. Dan Zimmerman on soprano sax. Again, thanks for coming. Have a wonderful holiday season.
So, the first video games I've ever played was on Sega Genesis, playing the original Sonic, playing a few other games. I don't remember. We had a few. We found them recently, but those are some of the first games I came in contact with. And then I was introduced to the PlayStation. And it's kind of weird because I'm very much of a Nintendo fan. I really, really like Nintendo a lot, more than other companies, but I really didn't grow up with Nintendo at all. I just kind of grew into it afterwards, but yeah, I was introduced to PlayStation. It was like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing in the world. So, I started out just playing games and evolved into not only understanding, but being a part of a lot of the aspects of any game. I play them, I make them, I support ones that other people are making. I really like to analyze games as well, and I think that's where the big change actually happened. Because I found someone on YouTube named Egoraptor, and he had a show called Sequelitis where he analyzed just sequels in games, and I really liked looking critically at games in that way. I was never really as close with my dad as I was with everyone else. in my family. But I feel like in that regard, our relationship has been stable with how close it is, because occasionally, we'll play a video game together, or we'll build a Lego set or something, and we don't do that very much that often anymore because he's really busy now. But I feel like it's just steady, not insanely close, not insanely distant that like I don't know who he is. But yeah, I guess that's it.
Christopher came out to us about 9 months ago to let his mother and I know that he feels transgendered. He does not feel comfortable as being male. He feels more comfortable as a female. This was a slow process. He's definitely much closer to his mother than maybe me. And so some of this was shared with her first, and then she sort of brought it to me, sort of asking him, is it okay if I talk to Dad about this? So over time, it sort of started slowly. That my wife would come to me and say, Chris would like to start shaving his legs. Are you okay with that? And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. What's that really matter about anything? So, and maybe it was something else. Just come to me to say like, so yeah, Christopher's not very sure about his sexuality. I'm like, oh, that's fine. That's something that happens a lot with kids, and it's not a big deal for me.
It's been really different. I think when I first found out, I was sad because I've known him my whole life as my little brother. And, it's just interesting when someone as one way for so long, and then they tell you they're somebody else, and that's really cool that you're finally getting to meet this new side of this person, but at the same time you gotta let go of the person that they were before. Not that that's a bad thing, and I'm happy that Chris is now happier than he was, because for the first year of high school and all through middle school, he wasn't very happy, and it was pretty evident. So
when I was really young, me and my sister had a really, really solid relationship. We saw each other every day. We were basically friends. But as we went into the world of schooling, and we found our own friends and joined our own cliques, or whatever you want to call them, we kind of started just drifting apart. And on the topic of my transition, she's totally on board with it. She's totally supportive. But just over the past few years and still now, just kind of drifting apart because we like different things. We have different friend groups, and we don't really see each other much that often because she's off doing things, I'm off doing something else, or just in my room. So we don't hate each other, but we just don't really see each other that much anymore. During the time in which I decided that I would be better off as female, it was more like my friends urging me to be who I wanted to be, and during that time I struggled with some depression, sadness, and I dealt with that with YouTube. I watched a lot of YouTube, and basically every YouTuber I watched also preached the same thing, that you should just be yourself, and whoever you want to be is totally fine. That's who you should be, because it's awful to be somebody else that you don't want to be. And it really just kind of gave that voice in the back of my mind saying, hey, you're allowed to be yourself. Doesn't matter what other people say. So just the fact that I knew that there were people around me and people that existed that were totally open with me being me kind of allowed me to have the bravery to make that decision.
So about last year around February, It's interesting. Chris didn't actually come to me directly to tell me that, and from here on out, I'm gonna refer to Chris as her, because she shared with us that she wanted to be transgender. But how I found out about it was Caitlin had come home, and through some mutual friends, she had heard that Chris had shared this with one of their mutual friends, and she just said that she was concerned about Chris being safe at school, and wanted to know if we had known anything or had suspected anything. You know, and as a parent, you don't want to push too much, but it's, you know, in our house, we always try to be honest and open about things. So I spent the next probably week and a half looking for an opportunity to bring it up, so it wasn't like, you have to tell me, but to bring it up so that Chris knew I was open to talking about it. And we were actually just here alone one night sorting laundry together. And I said, so it's come to my attention, you know, that Caitlin's, one of your friends shared with Caitlin a very, you know, intimate thing about you that I didn't know if you wanted to share. And we had the conversation. I still remember that night very vividly, because after Chris came out and said, I've never felt comfortable as a boy. And at the end of the conversation, though, said, I'm really glad you asked, and it's a big relief.
My relationship with my mom is, right now, just there. It's nothing really special. It used to be a lot closer, just like my sister, but I feel like I'm just getting to that point where I'm in high school, gonna go off to college soon, and I just have that mentality, just like, I want to go now. Bye. See you later. Gonna go off, do my own thing. And with my transition, she really hasn't treated me any differently, aside from like, hey, let's go shopping and do girly things. But really, I'm still her child, and she still loves me, and I don't think I could really change that.
So I just wanted to share with you how I was feeling last night, and I wrote it down because I feel like that's an easier way for me to express myself. So, I'm sorry for lashing out about the video tonight. This process has all been very hard for me ever since Chris came out. It's not that I don't support her, I just feel like I'm losing the last pieces of my little brother. I'll be up by 7:30 tomorrow to be ready for the video. I love you both, and again, I'm sorry for getting upset.
It's not gonna be late. It's 10 o'clock right now.
Yeah, I'm still not ready.
What do you have to do?
I have to shower.
Stop scratching your legs.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Okay.
Cool.
Just keep your eye, tilt your head back, and just... Alright. Tilt your head back now, home too. Yeah, looks good. Alright, and you can experiment with the other colors too and see which ones you like to use. Do you want to do eyeliner? Or...
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to get my liquid eyeliner because that's a lot easier to use. And we can use that.
So a lot of people, if they had the choice of what people could learn and what people could accept, they would say, I want everyone to understand transgender people because that'll make it so much better. And really it'd be great if everyone understood how we think and just kind of what's going through our head to make us make these decisions. But realistically, that's never ever going to happen. So I don't really need people to understand. I
All I need is for people to respect my decision and not kind of intrude on it, because it's not their decision, it's my life, it's my decision, and they don't have to understand it, they just have to respect that this is mine and not theirs.
Yeah, look up more. So get underneath your lash.
And then, because you got a little bit on your
Yeah.
nose, just go back with your foundation. Take this and you can just get that right on there. A lot of it is just layers. So this is like a gloss, but then it'll dry to get that like hard. It's kind of cool. So whichever one you want to use.
I don't really think I need to use
You
that.
don't want to use it yet. All right. Yeah, but that's something that like it's all
It's
stuff
fancy
that you
stuff.
can play with whenever you have time, and if you ever need help, I can help you out.
Okay.
But yeah,
Thanks.
there you go.
Yay. In the college that I'm looking to go to, there are plenty of accepting places. I know there are gender neutral bathrooms, and there are dorms where I can go, where other like LGBT plus people go, that are safe, and that's where they can all be. But I also know that there are some crazy people out there, and especially in college, where crazy teenagers who don't exactly think things through properly. So I'll have to be safe. I'll have to think things through very well if I want to go out anywhere. And I'll have to kind of treat social situations a lot more differently. I'm not going to just not tell people that I'm transgender, because that's not something I ever want to do. Because I don't find it shameful to be like this. No one should find it shameful to be transgender ever, and no one should have to hide it. So, if it's necessary, yeah, I'll be totally fine with telling people that I'm transgender, but with that, I'll have to make sure that I'm being smart with who I'm telling and what might happen if they don't want me to be this way. So, yeah.